Hello and welcome to this week's Modern Toyfare news. This week is going to be a very lonely edition. As you can tell, I am not joined by my usual co-host, Jamar_Games. He is actually out this week, and for good reason. Um, I want to congratulate both him and his wonderful wife. They gave birth to their baby over the weekend. He came about a month early, which of course I had to blame on the fact that Jamar spent the last week talking about how he's going to have Dunkaroos at their baby shower, and the baby just didn't want to wait and wanted to join in on the fun. But let's be honest, you're not here to hear about babies. You're here to hear me talk about toys. Or just because you accidentally clicked on the little link and now you're stuck here until you exit out. So I'm going to get right into it before you have a chance to go away. We have a ton of news this week from Mcfarlane Toys. Um, First up, they did announce a wave of Dune movie figures. Now, I'm going to warn you in advance, I'm not familiar with the movie. I actually mistook it for Tremors at one point when they announced they were making it. So I'm probably going to butcher some of these names, but it's going to be a Build-A-Figure wave out. It's going to be due out this fall. The wave is going to consist of Paul Atreides, Lady Jessica, Duncan Idaho, and Duke Leto Atreides. If you buy all of them, you can build the Glossu Beast Robin, or Dave Bautista, for those of us who have no clue who that is. They also announced a 12-inch Baron Vladimir Harkonnen? I don't know. I tried. I'm sorry. Overall, I mean, the original image looked real rough, but with the new images that came out, where it's individual figures and you can see all the accessories and the details, they actually look pretty good. If depending on how the movie turns out, these might have to be a pickup if you're a Dune fan. Uh, Honestly, in the original image, you couldn't even tell which actor was which, but these new images, they look pretty sharp. I'm not sure about articulation, just because based on the armor, it's kind of hard to see where things are going to move and how much that's going to be restricted, but still could be pretty cool. So keep an eye out for those here in the coming months. Next, they have some news in the DC Multiverse 7-inch line. We have Arkham Asylum, Batman, and Joker 2-pack actually hit out in the UK or Europe. I'm not sure which, but all thanks to Robot Kingdom, there is a in-hand picture of the 2-pack, and it looks significantly better than the original prototype images and the original like glamour shots. So Batman is a little dirtied up, so it's supposed to be like him later in the game once he's taken a little bit of an ass beating. Um, I personally wish they would have added some molding to this of some battle damage, like the old Comic Con exclusive DC Direct figure. Having him just have some dirty pants, cool. He fell in the mud. Doesn't really do it for me. However, Joker, he has this like green slime drool. It's very reminiscent of the Arkham City posters, and I'm kind of all for it. It looks really cool. Definitely makes the figure pop a little better than the original version. So that there might be enough to make me want to pick it up, but at the same time, I'm still kind of iffy about it. They did also show off a prototype image of the Batman the Drowned figure from Dark Knight's Metal, which we talked about previously, and the fact that it was missing from the original line of the Dark Knight Metal figures, because we already had Merciless as the build-up figure with Devastator, Dawnbreaker, Red Death. I feel like I'm missing one. Oh, obviously Batman Who Laughs. So now you're going to have the Drowned to kind of help round out that team, which is nice to see that they're actually working on it. It does look its very early stages prototype, so maybe sometime next year. We'll have to wait and see. No dates or anything have been kind of announced for it. And then some listings actually did pop up for a Red Sun Superman and a Damian Wayne figure from Mcfarlane. So I'm kind of curious to see how those turn out, especially the Red Sun Superman. If they do that one right, I'll definitely pick that up because I do love me some Red Sun. Mcfarlane Toys did show off the Witcher 7-inch figures, and I'm going to apologize in advance because I don't know how to pronounce the first guy's name. Edarin, Barak Gloss, and Geralt. They both have full-on glamour shots. They actually look pretty solid, especially because like Geralt, he has it looks like a severed werewolf head or something. It's pretty cool looking. And if you're a fan of The Witcher, I feel like these are a must because especially like as a video game fan and a toy collector, I'm the first to say it's not very often nowadays that you get action figures of your like favorite video game characters. Like Nintendo, you do just because they're like they have the cool ones that are like super articulated from over across in Japan, and then they have like the little cheapy ones that you can get at Target. Um, and there have been some Bioshock figures back in the day, but like the Fallout figures sucked from Funko. So and McFarlane still hasn't done anything with the Bethesda line of figures except for Doom. So here's hoping that this is a sign that once they're done with these, they can move on to one of the other video game franchises that they got the rights to, but still haven't made anything for. Um, but these are looking to hit stores in March of 2021. So if you're a Witcher fan, keep your eye out a little closer then. And honestly, I'd say probably around November, December, or even maybe January, I'd imagine pre-orders will go up on Big Bad Toy Store. So you can just kind of pre-order them and not have to worry about fighting the crowds at GameStop. From there, though, McFarlane did start to disappoint people, mostly from the Spawn Kickstarter. So they showed off a picture of everything you're getting, and it looks really cool. Like all the colors and everything pop. It's very 90s esque. Got like the plaques with the signatures, the comic book covers, all the accessories, the figure itself, the alternate bodies and heads, all just kind of sprawled out. But they kind of confirmed that the torso is a hard plastic piece and won't have any articulation. So a lot of people are very upset about that, and I don't blame them. But at the same time, it's Spawn. I feel like it's been like what 30 years of Spawn having statuesque figures with limited articulation, so I'm not surprised. But if I spent the money on it, I'd still be pissed. I will say, everything you get though, it's still kind of worth it in my opinion. If I was a hardcore Spawn fan, just know not to trust McFarlane's Kickstarters anymore because they'll play you pretty hard. Continuing to disappoint everyone, especially me, McFarlane continued his new favorite pastime of taking a Batman figure and repainting it. So they are doing a Target exclusive DC Multiverse 7-inch White Knight figure that is all red. Well, red and pink, essentially. And it's set to release in March 2021. People are saying, oh, it's supposed to, represent the actual like images and the artwork in the books and on the covers. And I get that. To an extent, yes. I honestly would not be shocked if that took no bearing on McFarlane doing this and it was solely like, it's Target. It's red because Target's red. Honestly, the only way I would have bought this figure is if they would have went more of the NECA Shredder from Loot Crate from the Mirage comics, where he's got that like real harsh like deco on him with the like dark shadows and everything, because that would have looked a lot like the cover art and some of the actual artwork versus it just being red accents on the suit. So personally, to me, this feels like a cop out. I get it. Most of their molds are brand new. They aren't making a lot of money off of them, so they kind of have to do what they can. I personally just I can't justify it. It's not worth it to me. If they would have went like all in on it and added like at least some shadowing, maybe, but it just feels like a Funko Pop. Like, oh, Walmart gets a blue one, Target gets a red one, GameStop gets a red and white and black one. Yeah. They did, however, start turning things around though as the week went on, by officially showing off the Mortal Kombat 11 7-inch bloodied variants of Baraka in his bloody Hokrata skin, Spawn in his Blood Feud Hunter skin, and Raiden in his Bloody White Fury skin. These are going to be coming out next month in a limited release. Now, I don't know if that means limited in numbers or limited as in like it's only going to be out during that time, or even if it means it's going to be exclusive to somewhere. But if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, I'd keep an eye out for these because they look pretty sweet, especially Spawn. Spawn, the red and white really pop. Like at first I was like, why is there a white Spawn? But it kind of looks cooler than the normal Spawn in my opinion. And Baraka just looks like he's been murdering people. He's just covered in blood, and it's a pretty solid figure. They did also show off the first looks at the Sub-Zero in his winter purple skin and Scorpion in the shadow skin. And these are also in the Mortal Kombat 11 7-inch line. Honestly, I'm going to have to get the Scorpion because he's the best color. I mean, purple, if you haven't noticed, based on the background color, is my favorite favorite color. And I mean, it's Sub-Zero. Like, he's the best Mortal Kombat character, let's be honest. And he comes with like an ice axe and a spine with a skull on it. Like, everything about this just is, it might be a must when it comes out. The DC Multiverse Arkham Knight Batman, they finally corrected it, and the Arkham Origins Deathstroke finally went up for pre-order. They were supposed to be up on pre-order on the 14th. However, for reason they didn't, but now they're on Amazon.com for $19.99 each with a ship date of October 30th. So if those are something you've been waiting for, go pick them up. Honestly, I'd say just go on eBay and buy the DC collectibles versions that came out during the game came out, because they're a little better. But that's just me. Then again, those might be a little pricier. So if you're not looking to spend that aftermarket, then these are definitely for you. I'm just not a fan of the way they've done the Arkham series figures. They look, something about them looks off. I don't know if it's the proportions or just the paint. Something about them just doesn't do it for me, and I haven't been able to pinpoint it yet. But yeah, but moving on from that to something that I will be buying 100%. The final and most important piece of news from Mcfarlane Toys this week is we're getting a Build-A-Figure wave from the last Knight on Earth, and that's Knight with a K. This includes Batman in his straitjacket, which they have confirmed will come with Joker's head in the lamp, or lantern, or whatever it is. Omega Batman, Wonder Woman, and Lieutenant Dan Scarecrow, because he ain't got no legs. Oh, I miss Jamar. He would have laughed at that. Anyway, when you buy all four of them, the Build-A-Figure has been also confirmed to be Bane, so you have someone to carry around Scarecrow, and I'm all for it. They did confirm Bane is going to be bigger than the Disappointer. I mean, the Devastator. So no date, but the fact that we've already got glamour shots, knowing how Mcfarlane is, I'd say probably by the end of the year. And I'll pre-order these on Big Bad Toy Store the second they go up, because that Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo do absolutely fantastic work together, and that story's fantastic. Plus, I mean, Bane in that book isn't super like specific to that artwork, so you could probably pass him for other things too. So having a big Bane is kind of a huge selling point as well. But yeah, so that's it for Mcfarlane. Let's move on to NECA. We did get a look at the first 2-pack in the Wave 4 of the Target exclusive Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles line. We've got Trog and Granator, which we already kind of knew were coming, but this is actually like in box, and they're even starting to pop up in stores, which they weren't supposed to until the end, or till like end of the month or early October. But surprise, normal NECA fashion. It's going to be on this date, but it doesn't actually happen on that date. So it was originally planned with this wave, we were also supposed to get Splinter and Baxter Stockman, and then Roadkill Rodney and Triceraton Soldier. However, when looking at the back of the box, you see Ultimate Metalhead, which I'm not sure why he's even on there because he was with the previous wave. But instead of Splinter and Stockman, they have a different, which is 2 Triceratons, and I can't, the image is kind of blurry, so it's hard to see. I think it's Zoc and Jork. So I'm not sure if that means that Splinter and Stockman are still part of this wave, they just aren't on the box, or if they've been bumped to wave 5. So I guess we'll have to wait and see, because NECA's still doing their whole scattered releases where it's like every other month or every month or every few weeks, depending on how they're feeling. They did confirm there's going to be no more pre-orders for the rest of this year on their website for turtle-related items in the States. So here on out, if there's an animated turtle figure that you want, you need to go and bust your ass hunting, because they aren't going to be pre-order to be made to order or anything like that. It's going to be what's in store and what's on Target's website, and that's it until further notice. So if you want yourself some rock people, get out there and start hunting, because they've already started hitting stores by the time you're listening to this. Continuing the NECA news, though, they showed off more images, because we've already seen some, of the Alien 7-inch Ultimate Rhino Alien version 2. This is also put up for pre-order. You can get it at Big Bad Toy Store. It's $39.99 and ships in January of 2021. I still stand this as a really cool figure. I get they changed it from, like, changed the coloring of it from the original version they did, because I think the original one was based off like the old Kenner figures, and this one seems to be a little more like the movies would be. Even if you're not an Alien fan, I feel like this would at least be like something you could like put as like almost even like get a couple of them and have like Superman and Batman fighting them, or even the Ninja Turtles could fight them. Like, all sorts of different things you could do with these that aren't necessarily Alien related, because while they clearly look like xenomorphs, they kind of are just off enough that you could pass them for other things. So I'll say it now: if you're in the market for some big monsters for your stuff to fight, or if you're an Alien fan, I'd hop on it and head over to the Big Bad Toy Store, because these look pretty sweet. Let's see now. Next, we do have some more news from NECA. They put up an updated. Well, actually, these aren't updated. These are actually full-on images, because originally we just got like a picture of the box. So the 7-inch Creep Show, the Creep figure. The Creep is going to feature synthetic hair, which is creepy as fuck, a fabric robe with a wire, so you can pose it, which is really nice, because I'm pretty sure you're mostly going to have him sitting down, so having that to be able to kind of flush over his legs instead of being all like over the place will be great. He also comes with a lantern, a skull, and a Creepshow comic. And I feel like the meta-ness of the Creepshow comic is kind of cool enough that I almost want it. But the rest of it's creepy enough that I'm a solid no on this. Like, the synthetic hair was kind of like where I walked away. That's just, it's great if you're a hardcore fan of Creepshow, because you know they went all out for this figure. But it's just a little weird for me to have hair on an action figure. Like, that was one thing I didn't like about the old Shredder figure, like back in the day. It was like he was like felt or something, and like he just had a little bit more of a feel to him rather than being plastic. And I think that was the movie one, not the one from the actual line. But yeah, so I'm a pass on this, but it looks really, really cool, and the accessories alone with it kind of definitely will make it a pickup if you're a horror fan and collect the NECA figures. So next up, we do have, I don't know how to pronounce this, Kyoto, I think, revealed the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech Joker figure. Now, there's no dates, no prices, no pre-orders, literally just a picture. And it looks really cool, like the deep purple with the like dark green and the orange. They just like they really stand out. Now, I get it, it's the art style of these figures, but his head looks really tiny in this. So he looks like he's like some beefy dude with a tiny head and a suit. But like, for what the figure is supposed to represent, I get it. It is definitely really cool. Has some great detailing in it. I haven't bought into this line at all. If they did a Nightwing or something, probably would convince me to do it. And then, of course, I'd probably down spiral into doing the rest of it and buying Joker and Batman and all that. But yeah, I mean, if you're into the kind of Asian style import figures from like Revoltech, I definitely keep an eye out for more news for this guy, because it definitely stands out, and it looks, honestly, I think he looks cooler than the Batman figure they did. So Mezco, moving on to our next story, they put up a teaser earlier in the week for the 112 Collective Batman Supreme Knight Shadow Edition figure, which went up for pre-order on Saturday for Batman Day. And this figure sold out pretty quickly. I'm gonna be honest, the site it wasn't as bad as it was for Doc Nocturnal, but it still was pretty rough. It had some issues loading. I know it took me probably at least 5 minutes to get through, if not longer, to successfully like check out. Now this was in stock. This was not a pre-order, so this is gonna be like coming to people within the next month, and you had to pay everything up front. There was no like non-refundable deposit or any of that nonsense. But this, first off, the price point was $95. Now lately, most of the figures we've gotten from them have had all this extra crap like shirts and collectible cards and stuff we don't want, and they've been like $120. So it was kind of refreshing to get something for $100 or for less than $100. But the thing that shocks me is just the sheer amount that you get with this figure. Like, it's more than I think we've gotten with any other Batman figure. He comes with, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 5 different heads, his hands. You've got some like 2 different sets of batarangs. You've got a posable wired cape. You've got smoke effects. You've got grappling hooks. You've got the posable stand like usual. You've got some weird blaster cannon thing. You've got giant versions of the batarangs. He's all decked out in black. I will say it's a little weird that his armor looks more like the Sovereign Knight rather than the Supreme Knight they already released, so I think that's a little odd. It looks really cool though, especially because the fact that it's like shiny decals over just the matte finish for the fabric, so it kind of sticks out. But the thing that honestly sold me on this, more than all the cool accessories and just the cool looking stealth Batman, his chest emblem is swappable. Which, if you're a fan of Mezco figures and you've ever dabbled in like customizing, you know that removing the chest emblems is the biggest pain in the ass, because if you want to, for instance, like the PX Sovereign Knight exclusive Batman had the big yellow bat symbol on his chest, and if you wanted to put the normal version's big black bat on that, you had to heat it up for like ever, and then you had to like kind of gently pop it off, because if you didn't, you'd ruin the suit because it's glued on there and the pegs are glued in because they don't want them to come out. So this is incredible, and it's D Amazing did a review on it already, and they're actually magnetized. So each one just kind of slides on and you adjust it and you're good to go. So you've got the big like Dark Knight Return style bat logo. You've got this kind of oval-ish silver bat logo, and then you've got the more modern style big black bat logo. And I'm not gonna lie, part of me is tempted to try to remove the Dark Knight Return style one from the regular edition and put the slightly smaller one on it to see how it looks, because I really just like the way that looks, and I want to see how it looks on the gray suit. But I pre-ordered one, of course, because I'm a huge Mezco mark and they get me every time, and it's Batman, so couldn't pass that up. I will say one of the faces though on this figure is the creepiest Batman I've ever seen. He's just got this like creepy, like it's almost like he's trying to smile but he doesn't know how, and it's I'm not sure where they were going with that. If it was supposed to be like a creepy "I'm gonna murder you" face, or if someone was just like, I don't know how to make Batman smile, or why would you make Batman smile? But I don't know. I'm still getting it, and I can't wait to show it off next month when it comes in. So moving on from Mezco, Mafex put up the Hush Joker figure for pre-order. He is set to be released in August of 2021, so probably January of 2022, because that's how Mafex works. They set a date and it moves every time that it's about to ship. He is $94.99, so he's a little bit less than the other releases, but he only comes with a knife and a handgun, a bang flag, and then 2 heads and 3 sets of hands. Personally, I feel like $95, that's not nearly enough. First off, it's going to be hard to sell in general because the Hush Joker is the ugliest Joker I've ever seen. And it's pretty much a known thing in the comic like collector universe that this Joker, like, love Jim Lee to death. He is like the pinnacle of DC's artwork. But that Joker that he made for Hush, granted he didn't have a huge part in the story, was just so ugly and just an eyesore. And like, I get, like, obviously if you're someone who's like been waiting for a big break in Hush figures, like this is your chance to collect all of them. Even if I was all in on this and was gonna get every figure, I'd have a hard time like choking down $95 for this Joker, because he's ugly and he comes with virtually nothing, and he's not that much less expensive than the rest of the line. So who knows? Maybe by next year they'll announce more accessories and excite people who are pre-ordered. But this one's a easy pass for sure for me. Super7, however, put up pre-orders for the Thundercats Ultimates Wave 4, which includes Linkso, featuring a tile from the Fountain of Healing Water, a light shield, as well as alternate head and hands. Monkian features a cannon, shield, mace, blaster, as well as an alternate head and hand. Pumra comes with a wrapped sword of omens, a communicator, alternate head, hands, claw shield, and soft goods robe. He also includes a additional snarling Mumra head that is scaled to fit the previously released Mumra figure, so that's kind of cool. And then Snowman, which includes a collection of icy weapons, 2 sets of alternate hands, and a special helmeted head. These are currently available for pre-order on Super7's website for $45 each and are expected to ship fourth quarter 2021. So I have seen very little of Thundercats. Like, I've seen enough that like they're cool and I enjoy what little I've seen of the cartoon. And if I didn't already have so little shelf space and so many things that I collect, I would almost bite the bullet and buy some of these, because some of them look really, really cool. Even if you aren't using them for like a Thundercats display, like if you just want, I mean, they're giant cats. Like, you could put them up against your Super 7 Ninja Turtles, and they would scale perfectly and look really nice. Or you could even just have like a turf war on your shelf between Thundercats and Ninja Turtles or anything. So these are really cool. I probably won't jump into the line, especially this late, because with them being on wave 4, I'd have to go back and hunt down the other waves. And let's be honest, Super 7 figures, they usually get a little pricey after release. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to pass on these, but I would definitely say if you're a Thundercats fan, I would pre-order now, whether it's from Super 7 directly, which I would suggest just because, it's great to support the company. But if you don't want to pay in advance and want to be able to cancel if you change your mind, I'm sure Big Bad Toy Store either already has them up or will soon. Honestly, out of all of them, I don't even know if this is the right way, but Monkian, I might pre-order him on Big Bad Toy Store just because he looks really cool. Like, he just looks like a giant, like, he almost looks, I'm assuming he's supposed to be an ape and not a cat. And he just looks really cool, and it looks like he'd fit in with like just about anything versus being like stuck in that Thundercats role. I also kind of like, I'm assuming it's Snowman since he's the icy guy. He looks pretty cool too. But moving on from Super 7 to Storm Collectibles. So they had a huge event with like Tamashiinations and like all of the bluefin branding figure lines over this weekend, and they had exclusives up for the for a few things. They did some pre-orders for new figures, and they did exclusives for Mortal Kombat, Tekken, and Samurai Showdown. So Samurai Showdown, you get Haomaru in a blue outfit, as well as a bloody version. Both figures, as of the time of recording, are still available for pre-order from on Big Bad's Toy Store and on the Bluefin website. They're $109.99 each and ship fourth quarter of 2020. With Tekken, you get a Kazuya Mishima, final battle version, and he comes with this like weird like forehead beam thing, and like obviously the usual like heads and hands. He looks pretty sweet. He is where is it? I believe he's still for pre-order on Bluefin. I believe he was $70 if I remember correctly. However, Mortal Kombat. So this is where it kind of gets like a sucks, but is awesome at the same time. So they have the Ice Arms Sub-Zero from Mortal Kombat 3, and I'm assuming it's Mortal Kombat 3 Scorpion. Both went up. They were $70 as well. Sub-Zero sold out instantly. Like he was good game. Last I checked, Scorpion's still available. They did announce they'll both be available in Big Bad Toy Store. I believe they said, I want to say it was the 22nd at midnight Eastern time. So keep an eye out for those in the news. They posted on their Twitter on Bluefin. I think it's just at Bluefin Brands. They look really cool. I kind of tempted if Big Bad Toy Store has it for the $70 mark and don't mark it up a bunch, I'd probably consider getting the Ice Hand Sub-Zero just because he looks really, really cool. And I get it because he's Sub-Zero. Cool. Jamar will like that one too. But essentially, it's going to be a pain because I have a feeling that 1201 is going to hit Eastern Time, and it's going to be like either a nightmare or it's going to be gone like that. So something to keep an eye out for. I'll try, but I'm not expecting it to go well, just considering how fast he sold out in the normal one. If you're a Scorpion fan, though, he's still available on Bluefin, and you could probably get him directly from them, unless you don't want to pay in advance. Then you can just get him from Big Bad Toy Store. Also, I forgot to mention, the Samurai Showdown figures are $109.99 each, which they look really cool. Honestly, like, if I don't end up getting Sub-Zero, I might get one of these, especially like the blue one. And not like the bloody one's cool, just 'cause like blood and stuff. But the blue one, something about that blue like gi just really pops to me. But don't really need it. But I kind of want it, So we'll see. I'm sure I'll keep you updated, and you'll find out what I wasted my money on in the coming weeks and months. But they also didn't really announce, but some images from like a previews book out in Japan showed off more pictures of Radditz from the Dragon Ball Z SH Figuarts line, and they're real blurry and it's kind of hard to make out some things, but he looks really cool. And if I hunt down Nappa, I'm gonna pre-order him. It's inevitable. Like having all three of them on your shelf just kind of posed. You have to do it. Some people did point out, though, it's hard to tell in the pictures, but they think he comes with a swappable chest plate that's going to have like the crack in his armor from when Gohan shoots out of the space pod and hits him. I feel like the only way I'd want that is if they include a tiny little Gohan accessory. Because, I mean, obviously making baby Gohan as a full figure it's not going to be in scale properly. It's going to be a waste of, like, you're not going to be able to articulate. It's kind of like having the child from The Mandalorian. Like, there's not a lot you can do with it. So it'd be one of those things where it'd be nice just to get, like, a posable stand with him, like, in that, like, T-pose of, like, firing out of the pod. And I think that would be kind of cool. Because then you could even, like, have him, like, headbutting him in the chest, Radditz in the chest. So I'd be down if they decide to go that route. Rounding out the news and the final story of the week, still over with Bluefin Brands, we've got Tamashiinations showed off new images of the SH Monster Arts Biolante special color version. And now this one's tugging at me a little bit. A silhouette tease of the 1989 Godzilla. Now, if you've watched this show even remotely over the past couple months that we've been doing this, you'll know that 1989 Godzilla gets me. I've got two of them on the shelf behind me, one with the Biolante slime all over him, and one that's normal. I tell myself I'm not going to get the Monster Arts figures because they're too expensive, and I don't need that much articulation. The NECA ones are fine. But oh, buddy, if they do this right, it's going to be hard for me to say no. So I'm really hoping that it looks terrible when it comes out, because I do not want to have to go through the hassle of buying that, because those are usually upwards of like $100, and I don't need it. Please look awful when it comes out, because I really don't want to get it. But that is it for the news this week. So normally you'd have me and Jamar talking back and forth about our weekly purchases, but instead it's just going to be me showing you what I bought this week, because he's not here. So first off, a few weeks back, you probably heard us talking about Jamar managed to find a Godzilla figure I've been looking for at a local toy shop near him. It is I think it's the 2002 Godzilla, but it's the Atomic Breath version. So he has his like blue highlights and Atomic Breath. Pretty cool figure. It's a repaint of the other one they have, but I was like, I like it. It's got Atomic Breath glowy parts. I need it. So that finally came in. Had him ship it to me. Now this next purchase, everyone's been making fun of me for this, and I don't care. I think these are awesome. So apparently this has been around for a hot minute, but I just now saw them at Target. There is a world's smallest line of action figures for your action figures essential. They come in their own little plastic carding, little plastic bubble. I've got a few here. I picked up He-Man, mostly because I eventually want to get Skeletor, and I figure you can't have one without the other. Then I picked up Optimus Prime, and finally this one actually went back and they restocked and had it, and I was super excited. They have Starscream, because he's my favorite Transformer. And like they have a little latch in the back so you can actually take the figure out if you want. It has a display stand. Personally, I think this looks way too cool to take it out. Like that just like a waste, considering it's literally a tiny figurine statue. I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it yet, but I want to display. Maybe I'll make, once Super7's Michelangelo comes out, maybe I'll make like a room for him in the sewer, and it'll just like have his action figures and comics everywhere. Maybe that's what I'll do with those. But everyone's been making fun of me for buying them, but they're cheap. It was $6 each, and I think they're really cool. So forget all you people. I like my tiny action figures for my action figures. On to literally my biggest purchase for the week. So I've had this guy pre-ordered for a while. Finally shipped from Big Bad Toy Store. I've got Thick Boy Grade 8 Vegeta, and I was expecting him to be big, but for whatever reason, when the box arrived, I was still shocked. Like, it caught me off guard at how big he ended up being. And a lot of people are hating on it. It has some problems, but I love it. Grade 8 Vegeta is probably one of my favorite forms of Vegeta in the entire series. That's one of the only Funko Pops I own is the Grade 8 Vegeta. And the fact that I have now a fully articulated version, I'm happy as a clam. Do I wish it was cheaper than what it was? 1000%. But he's also like over a foot tall. He's not quite in scale, obviously, with the other Figuarts figures, because he'd have to be like 3 feet tall for that to happen. Like, we're talking like full on HasLab Sentinel size. But I mean, if you go and find, I know back in the day in the 90s and 80s, they had little mini figures for DBZ. I might hunt some of those down, because those will scale perfectly with him. Also keep an eye out, because depending on when this finally goes up, this week's Modern Toyfare reviews may or may not be Grade 8 Vegeta. So if you want to see how he turned out, check that out. But that's it for my weekly purchases. I do want to take a moment to remind you, as always, about our giveaway. So as of this week, we have finally hit 50 subscribers. I know it's not much. I know it's stupid of me to be celebrating, but I'm excited. We've been doing this since June, so we're at like the 3-month mark, and we've got 50 subscribers. That brings joy to my heart. That means enough people either want something from this contest or at least enjoy the content enough to subscribe. So just going over it one more time, like always. Once we hit 350 subscribers, we will give away a first place prize of the NECA Ultimate Metalhead action figure and the merch bundle from the Musical Mutation Tour. And that comes with an extra large t-shirt, a tote bag, souvenir ticket, backstage pass, and 4 guitar picks. All you have to do, subscribe to the channel and share or retweet the post on Instagram or Twitter with the image that you're seeing on the screen now with the hashtag Modern Toyfare 100. Why 100 and not 350? Because originally the contest was just for the merch bundle with 100 subscribers on the line, and then we got an extra metalhead to throw in there for people, so we decided to bump it up a little bit just to spice things up. A lot of you have been really supportive, and I appreciate that. A lot of people sharing it just to share it to get the word out. We've had a lot of people who have gone and entered since then. So again, as always, if you want this to move along and you want to get one of these prizes potentially in your hands, share it. Even if you've already have, you don't have to use the hashtag again. Just share it. Or tell your friends about it. Tell anyone who you might think is interested in the channel about it. Even if they don't want the items in the contest, you can have them subscribe with their Gmail, so we still get to that number, and just tell them not to post anything, because then it gives you more chances to win, because there's less people actually entering the contest. All jokes aside about doing crazy stuff. Again, all I need to do is retweet or share the contest post with the hashtag ModernToyFair100. Make sure you include that hashtag. I've seen a lot of people not doing it. If you don't do it, I don't have a way of tracking it. If I click on that hashtag and and your post doesn't show up, that's not on me. It's very clear in the instructions and very clear in this video, in all our videos. And of course, you have to be subscribed to the channel, because that's the whole purpose of the contest. But that's going to be it for this week's Modern Toy Fair news. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Modern Toy Fair. You can follow Jamar on Twitter at Jamar_games. You can catch him, I'm assuming, still every week, despite the fact that now he is on paternity leave, on his show over at Media Junkie, the Why Are You a Gamer podcast, where he takes some time to talk to the community, different people, whether they're famous and have their own podcast or if they're just, schmucks like me. He goes through and just kind of talks to them about what makes them a gamer, what do they play, what do they like, why do they like it. It's a real fun conversation, definitely something worth checking out. So if you like to just hear people talk about video games and just interest without any purpose of news or anything that's like a solid point to it, and it's just like a conversation between two people enjoying their time together, then definitely check out Why Are You a Gamer. It's a great show. It was a lot of fun to be on. I was on episode 3 or 4 or something. So it's definitely interesting to find out some things about people that you might not expect, because a lot of people have interests in games that aren't common. It definitely creates for some interesting listening. But you can also find me over at Media Junkie. I am on the Gimmick Minute Wrestling podcast with Jason and Kevin. We usually go up on any podcasts apps, usually Saturday or Sunday, depending on when we get a chance to record. But we go over for about an hour the weekly rundown of what happened in the world of wrestling. It's mostly usually directed towards WWE and AEW. Sometimes we'll throw in Impact, and occasionally we'll touch on New Japan and stuff like that if something significant happens. But we kind of just talk about our thoughts, feelings about it, and kind of just give you a rundown of generally what happened. Nothing too crazy, but if you're a wrestling fan, it's definitely worth checking out, just because we get real ridiculous real quick with some of the stuff we do. If you'd like to support the channel, right down below is a link to our TeePublic store. We have shirts with our logo on it, shirts with some of the Media Junkie logos on them. We've got masks. We've got all sorts of different designs I've just made of other things. Like you can get stuff for Dragon Ball Z, Batman, Superman, X-Men, Umbrella Academy, all sorts of different crossover stuff that I do just when I get bored, and it becomes a t-shirt. Or even other things. You can get a case for your phone, a pillow, I think there's notebooks, all sorts of different cool stuff on there. So if you click that, check it out. I greatly appreciate it. As always, like and subscribe if you enjoy our faces. Hit the little bell to get notified when videos go up. We have Modern Toy Fair news which will be normally up on Fridays, and Modern Toy Fair reviews on Mondays. Now, I will say over the coming weeks, you'll probably see me going in and out of having guest hosts on here because I'm not quite sure what the game plan is with Jamar because we thought we had a little bit more time before his kid decided to come into the world. So kind of just playing it by ear right now, so stay tuned to see if it's just me or if I have someone else or if Jamar comes back. Who knows? Find out next time on Modern Toy Fair. So hopefully we will see you next week. But don't forget, if you don't like seeing our faces, we do have an audio-only version of Modern Toy Fair News, and that is on all your favorite podcast apps. We've got Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Pocket Cast, Spotify, and more. So please check that out if you don't have time for the video or just don't like looking at us and seeing pretty pictures of action figures and just want to hear us ramble. Go ahead, check that out. It's kind of just a more accessible option because I know there's some times where I don't have time to pay attention to a video either. So hopefully we'll see you next week, same toy time, same Toy Fair channel. Thank you for watching.